So I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he wanted to see what had changed in Dokkan since the last time he played, which was many, many years ago. Same thing with me too, because I started playing Dokkan back well before the first anniversary. So comparing to the way the game was then to where it is now, it is like the sky and earth. In terms of at least how they went around team building and events, and I guess the difficulty spike from where the game was then. They've added a lot of different features too. I'm going to go through all of them. First, I'm going to start off with what what it used to be like, right? So there was a time where this guy right here, I think I remember being the only LR in the game. But now things have changed to the point where there are multiple LRs in the game. I don't have many. I'm LR broke, but one of the most fascinating things that they've changed, or where I think a lot of time is spent, is team building. So I'll give an example. So back in the day, right, you would have someone like him as a category leader. I know he isn't, but I'm just using him as an example, okay? Don't chew my head off. So right here is a STR type leader. So you would be forced to be like, cool, he's my leader, and then I'm forced to kind of just pick anyone that matches that. So anyone red over here, like a cool, I want him on my team. You would never want Cyberman on your team, but maybe you do. I want him on my team. I want him on my team. I want him on my team. Whatever, because this guy can only lead the reds, the red guys, so STR guys. But that was mainly how the team builds really worked back then. It wasn't really that complex. It did change around the time where you would get someone like SS, whoops, SS for Goku, with his 120 lead until he got his until he was upgraded further. And now he's 130, but he used to be 120. And when this happened, people would again do the exact same thing, which was you would get this guy and then be like boom, 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 boom. That's my team done, right? But the changes they've made now, which I like, is say you select hybrid Saiyans here, so everyone that falls into this category can be within that team. And then you find your leader, which I normally use this guy because he has a really good leader skill. And now he's a leader to two categories. This is one of the other things that they've changed up, where instead of just being a type leader, then they put category leader, which would have normally just been one category, which would have been hybrid Saiyans. But now they put hybrid Saiyans and superheroes. And there are other characters that also lead two categories. And now recently they've added well, not recently, but it's been a while. It hasn't been that long since they added a new level up attacks percentage, which is now 200%. It used to be a max of 170%. But I'm digressing. So you go over here, you put him there, and you're like, you know what? I want the tech Gohan. I want the Int Super Saiyan 4 Gohan. You can have any of these characters, by the way. And then you say, I want this Trunks. I want this Gohan on my team. And perhaps this Gohan on my team. But you see, you're not limited to just colors anymore. You're not limited to STR. Oh, wait, I don't have a physical. I gotta do it. So physical. Oh, wait, I did have a physical. This Gohan was already a physical. Oh, no. Point is, like, you're not limited to just forcing yourself to be an STR or int or tech, and there's one example, and then the other one would be, see, a category leader of a saga. I think that's another good one. I think so. Majin Buu saga, you're like, boom, these are all the Majin Buu characters. Like, I don't want that. I want the Future Saga, and then you can have all these guys. First, you got to find out which one of these guys leads a Future Saga category. He isn't the best, but as you can see, he's a Future Saga category. So boom, 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 boom. There, done. One interesting thing that they, again, not too recently, but an addition to the game that all the players wouldn't be familiar with, is link leveling. But before I get to that, like, this team isn't the strongest. Like, isn't the max what I can make Piccolo's team be. But because I don't have many options, this is the best I have right now, and it is fantastic. Like, this team I'm really happy with it. If I have one weak link here, it would be this Gohan. But I mean, that's just Gohan in general. With this particular Gohan, because of the event, he isn't great. He's strong, but he isn't the best. Um, the second thing they added, right? First of all, these are the categories. So he leads that, and he leads this. So battle of wits and superheroes. He's the leader of that. But he's also on all these categories. So any of the leaders that lead any of these, he can be on that team. The second thing is to make sure your team works well together. Is the link skill. So if you click Brainiacs, you can find out which characters are within Brainiacs, and then you narrow it down to whether or not they fit on his lead. Um, so you can get the most out of the teams you run. He's one of the unique characters that doesn't really need links, but his best linking partner is this Piccolo here. Like he pretty much has all of these with this Piccolo, but it just gives you an additional thing, right? The additional boosts that you get from this can be quite drastic. So this is going to be 15% once that gets to level 10, which is significant, especially if you consider how much of a lead boost he already has, which is 200%. The point is, you find out that all of these give you attack, defense, key, etc., etc. But now, if you're asking, okay, cool, we get it. You can, get a super powerful team, but then is there content in the game that's more than just the story, right? Because story was never hard. So what can you do with these characters once you have a great team? Well, there's a lot to do in terms of challenges anyway. Now, Piccolo does kind of make everything a walk in the park, but that does not change the fact that there are some really good events. So this is really good for gems. It's really time consuming, but I think it's pretty fun too. You go through like a horde of enemies. This one right here is, what is it? What is this? It's just, oh, whoops. Sorry. I kind of forgot what this is. This is kind of just like Dragon Ball history. So I guess it's just sagas you're going through. Yeah, it seems like it's just like different kind of fights that are set up. But this is where the challenges start though. This one's super hard. There's a normal version of this which isn't that difficult, but here you're limited, right? So Goku's family only, Universe 6 only, time travels only, so on and so on. So it limits you, which kind of gives you a reason, an extra reason, except more than if you just wanted the particular characters you're summoning on to get them. It gives you a reason to complete these individual teams, so you can like take on these challenges. If nothing more than the fact that it's fun and the fact that they are quite challenging. Then it's these events right here. So, Legendary Goku event, the GC version, is pretty tough if you don't have the correct team. This one's probably the hardest. You fight base form Vegeta and Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2, then God and Blue, then Evolution Blue. This is probably the toughest one out of these fights. And then you get to the really, really hard fights, which starts from, I think anyway, the all of these gods of destruction. You go one by one, you try to fight these guys. A few of them are easier than the others, but pretty challenging. And then you get to the hardest one. I'm sure if you know anything about Dokkan, you know that this right here for the longest time was one of the hardest events, and it still is. If you don't have the most OP characters, this can be quite challenging. It's not impossible. I've seen people do free to play runs. I've seen people who don't have the most OP characters beat this stage. But me personally, I couldn't. Once I got Piccolo though, ooh, that changed things. This one's interesting. This one's pretty hard. Then you have red zones, just like Soul Max here. If you're familiar with Dokkan, you know that the red zone stages are by far the hardest. These are the main challenges within the game. There's a lot to do in terms of each character's build up and events, story, so on and so on. But when it comes to this is mainly people that want to challenge themselves and really test their teams. That's when you take on these events right here. They are incredibly hard. And there is a bit of RNG involved where like if your team does not pop off like it's meant to, and they're not performing as they're meant to, 9 times out of 10, you're losing. But honestly, that's where like team build comes in. If you can like really maximize the potential of your team and then take these on and you end up winning, man, that's the joy. That's the part where you get that sort of, you're like, okay, cool, I did it. You know what I mean? Like you're really putting yourself to the test and you're actually accomplishing something. And I feel like not many games have those kind of challenges where they keep updating the game and giving you more to do. And yeah, people in the community, they're not really too happy with a lot of the game sometimes. They're like, oh, we want more content, we want more content, but there is a lot to do. Then you have these events too where you take these on. This gives you an opportunity to make your characters even stronger. So, for example, these two, you can make them even stronger than they are, and so on and so on. And they're pretty tough if you don't have the correct characters. So, a few of these, for example, are category boosted. So, taking on this Frieza, it's advised that you use Defenders of Justice, and these are the ones that are not affected by damage reduction. So there's a lot to do. Then there's Ultimate Clash, which is kind of like a tournament where you could kind of go through stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Stage 2, 1 and 2 are easy, but when you get to stage 3, that really tests the quality of how many characters you have and which teams you can make. Because man, it really does test you. And I have a decent collection of characters, and I can't beat the new Broly at the end of this fight. I get ragdolled. So if people that like challenges, man, there's a lot in this game, and this changes too every month, I think. So there's a lot to do. I don't know much about this though. I've never ever tried this. It just kind of seems like a wasted feature. But chain battle's fun. A world tournament is whatever is cool. But I think overall that's it. But there is a lot more strategy within the game. It's not just, you know, click on the shiny colored orbs. Another additional final thing to mention is what they've done with each individual character. A lot of these characters have unique abilities to themselves. So this Piccolo, with your own option on the third turn, you have the option to turn him into his giant form, which is devastating. He can pretty much solo anything when he turns into this. You have characters like, I don't think he has one actually. Yeah, he doesn't. He does though, right? The active skill, yeah. So he does, right? So you have characters like this that can release random attacks after a while. So right there it says can be activated once 50%, 59% or less. You can just use that attack right there. Then some of these guys have fusion mechanics. So this one right here, straight away you can just turn into Kabito. There's another one. This one right here, first turn, if you wanted to, you can just transform into Golden Frieza. There's actually reasons not to, and then there are reasons to. It just depends on the fight that you're, in. And there's a lot of different mechanics that they've added to each individual character, especially the newer ones. So a character like this, for example, if you end up after you've fulfilled the requirements, you get attacked and your HP is reduced to 0. He can then exchange with this Goku, and you get brought back to life. I think that's a fantastic mechanic. There's a lot of different characters with this mechanic. There's not a lot, but there's enough within the game to give you that sort of, oh, that's a category, like that's a game changer too. I need to keep that in mind, fighting a strong stage. But just giving an idea of like how many changes they've made, there's a bit of strategy going on where like depends on what you're fighting. You do kind of have to focus on who you bring with you. It isn't like it used to be where you're like, cool, I just want an STR character here, and you don't think too much into it. But now there is a lot of strategy involved, and there is a lot more thinking, and you're a lot more involved within the game than you ever were before. So I feel like that kind of covers everything.